Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, I'm Miriam Dow, wife, mama for a real estate investor and entrepreneur. I saw all the messages, I saw all the DMs, I saw this video that I recorded about Cesar Penna. I saw the views go up on this video that I recorded 2 years ago about DJ Envy and Cesar Penna. And I got all of the messages, I saw all the comments. I don't really like to get in the mess. I'm not one to just film videos for views, just to be chasing clout. So I just let it die down a little bit. And to this day, literally today, someone messaged me like, hey, I know you are aware with everything that's going on. Apparently his page is down, so people want to get my insight about me getting scammed. I went to DJ Envy and Cesar Penna's real estate event back in 2021. Here is that video right here for those of you who haven't seen it. And it was very insightful. Would I do it again? Absolutely yes. First thing, how much did I pay? It was definitely under $200. So the price, the value that I got from that was definitely worth it. And I got to sit in the room with a lot of like-minded people. Now, there wasn't any time for us to actually walk around and mingle with each other, and I went by myself. I remember it was the month of Ramadan. I didn't have that much energy. I was fasting, so I did keep to myself. Something that you guys have to know is that there's a lot of people that are successful in real estate. Once people start to get a following, they'll go do a podcast, they'll go do an interview. Now they start to get a following, then they use that following and they monetize. Then the people start making so much money off of their courses and their digital products that they don't really even do the real estate like that anymore. So I had an open mind. I took my notebook, I was taking my notes. He had a lot of different speakers. So I learned about, rules about title, different rules about insurance, what kind of insurance you should have when you have a construction going on. And I didn't know that. So I took a ton of notes. I can't find that notebook, but when I do, I'll go over some of the things. His wife discussed how we can buy properties literally under $10,000. A lot of them are in Detroit. There's these kind of properties that you can buy for $7,500. Now with these properties, because I remember promising to send you guys the link, I have to look for this notebook, guys. This was 2 years ago, so please bear with me. And I done went through a lot of notebooks since then. It's like a HUD thing, HUD. So the town will sell it to you. But the thing is, you're not just gonna come out of pocket $7,500. You have to come up with plans, show them, the plans of what you plan on doing with this. You also have to show the funds that you have to get quotes for whatever work you plan on doing to the house. And then you also have to show that you have funds to get the construction done. There's a lot that went into it because now you're coming up with plans for a property that you don't even own yet. So I never really moved forward with it, but it was insightful because a lot of people say, I don't have the money, I don't have the money. So there are different ways for you to get into real estate. These properties that she was showing us was $7,000, $8,000. We were literally on the website as she was doing the presentation, and then I came back home and I was studying the website. Definitely possible, but it does come with a lot of strings attached. Like you have to have a contractor go out there, have him do a full inspection, give you a full quote on what it's gonna take to get this property back, up and running, the permits. I'm not sure if the city sends their own contractor, but you have to show proof that, okay, I'm gonna buy this house for $7,500, the renovation is gonna cost me $60,000. You need to show proof that you have the funds for that. Cesar was up there, he showed his very first property he invested. He talked about, going to jail and all this stuff, and how he turned his life around and how he owns all of Patterson. It was very inspirational. And then of course we all know DJ Envy. He was there. He was talking about how he got into real estate. I didn't get any scam vibes from there. But then again, that was my first time seeing MG, the mortgage guy, very upfront, nice guy in person as well. He was talking. So I started to follow a lot of these people that I saw there. MG, the mortgage guy, I actually spoke with him on the phone once. Funny story. But yeah, he's a good guy. And I learned a lot. There was some speakers there. I used to watch Housewives of New Jersey, and one of the ladies, her son, is also in real estate. He was on there. But they did have a table. So, they always upcharge. Like when you go to a concert, there's a table with the merchandise from the artist. It's a low-ticketed item, but then they have other stuff to get you to buy. So Cesar had his book. He was selling his book. I believe he was selling his book for like 20 or 30 bucks. I went on Amazon. I saw the book was less expensive there. He was signing the book. It's hard to really sell me on something because I was raised in a family of entrepreneurs. So it's like I've been doing all this business, watching my mom run multiple businesses. So it's hard to really get me. So when I did get scammed and I put a video about it, here's the video for that, I was shocked that I was actually scammable. So he had a table there. He was selling his books. The books was more expensive in person. I literally ordered it online. I was like, I don't need to get my book signed. Ordered it online. It was a book that I literally read off over the weekend. It was 157 pages. As you can see, the font is really big. So it was a very easy read. And he was just talking about his life, going to jail, turning his life around, having a gay cousin, how they found out. I'm not gullible to sign up for these things. You get what I'm saying? And I need you guys to not be gullible, because a lot of these entrepreneurs, they might start a business. I see people who do one rental arbitrage and then they got a whole course and they might have a following. Like, these people have a following. They'll pay to get on podcasts. They'll pay for interviews, and that'll, you know, bring a little buzz around them. And now they're selling a $5,000 course. Greg Parker, he's another one out of Philadelphia. Of course, I saw his interview and I got introduced to him from watching Earn Your Leisure. So, you know, a lot of things, and I know Earn Your Leisure did a statement as well. They do the interview, the person's not scamming people, but then eventually they get into scamming, or they think they could flip the money, you know, rob Paul to pay Peter. You have to do your due diligence. A lot of you guys be messaging me, I want to work with you. Like, a lot of things that I learned was literally from studying people. So, you know, I would listen to podcasts one way for a 40-minute bus drive to New York City, listen to it again, another 40-minute bus drive. So I would listen to 2 podcasts a day. I would sit here and watch interviews. When I'm driving to my rental property, instead of blasting music, I would literally listen to bigger podcast interviews. So like, I digested so much information about real estate, about things that you should do. And then I just decided to execute. You're never gonna just be perfect at anything. You're gonna make mistakes, but you're gonna learn from your mistakes, and you're gonna get better and better and better with time. I was following Greg Parker, and I saw his interview on Earn Your Leisure, and it was very interesting, you know, and it's just something about seeing a minority, you know, a colored individual, whether they're Hispanic, whether they're Asian, whether they're African, whether they're African American, doing their thing out here, because, you know, the odds are really against us. So, you know, he's doing his real estate thing. I follow him, I follow his wife. And then he started really talking about the market of Ohio. And at this point, I had my one property, and then I had already got scammed by the video of the scammer that I did. So I was very like hesitant, but the way he was doing it is he was selling these properties. On his Instagram, he'll walk through the duplex. So he's selling these duplexes in my head for very reasonable prices. He might be selling it for like $80,000. At the time, I had a hard money lender that was willing to work with me. So I just needed to find a deal. I had a down payment. They were gonna go ahead and fund 100% of the rehab costs. But at the end of the day, the deal has to make sense. Like, they're not gonna give you the money if they're gonna send their own people out there to appraise the home. The home has to actually be worth what you're saying. So I actually called Greg's team, because he would leave a phone number. He would walk through a duplex. I don't remember the figure. So let's say $60,000. We're selling this house for $60,000. And then rehab will probably cost you anywhere from $10,000. And you could have 2 units. You could have someone in this unit and this unit, 800 each. And I'm like, yo, that's doable. That's not bad. So I actually called his team. Someone else picked up. I would tell him, hey, I'm interested in the duplex that, you know, Greg just listed. I'm an investor myself. I already have a property and I'm looking to, you know, scale up. And they would then give me the address of the property. But what I found weird is, like, you gotta put 2 and 2 together. And I remember taking a bunch of notes when I was talking to this gentleman. And it was like, okay, this is what you gotta do. If you're interested, you gotta send the money over right now. We could actually bring it down to this price. Like, talking really fast. Not the information is not digestible, like trying to fluster me. And like, I was really interested. It was so long ago. I done did so many deals after that. I don't remember all the specifics. This went on for like a week. You know, someone took my number, then someone called me back. And then I spoke to Greg himself, and he was like, yeah, this property is like this. And you know, they're a good talker. So I'm like, okay, let me talk to my lender. I spoke to my lender, gave him the address. They did their information. They called me back and then like, hey, this property. And what was weird was when I put the address in, it was off the market. It wasn't a property that was for sale. A lender called me and was like, hey, you're trying to buy this property for $80,000, but it looks like someone bought this property just last year for $15,000. I realized I wasn't gonna get funding from the deal. That's when I never even called back. They would call and I wouldn't answer. But then you gotta put 2 and 2 together. Like, sometimes you don't have to have all the answers. And then I started looking at other properties and I'm just like, yeah, this property actually sold for this price. And I remember them giving me like 2 or 3 different addresses. All of them were multifamilies, but I'm not really familiar with the market. And then I'm like, why is it off market? if he's selling it, shouldn't it be on market? So then I started putting two and two together. What's happening is because I remember him taking a bunch of students or his people that he's training or his mentees to Ohio, have them invest. So they would buy this property for 15, and then he would promise them that we could flip it a few months later. So a year later, they probably started renovations. They can't afford renovations, or in their mind, they think they're going to flip it and make a profit. And now he's trying to flip it and give them a big profit and also make money in between, so because he's the one, marketing it. So then I just ignored that, and all these years later, all this information come out about him. I dodged a bullet there. I listened to another podcast with this woman. She's an Indian woman. She's an investor. I think her name, I'll put her name right here. So she's an Indian woman, and when I listened to her bigger podcast interview, I really resonated with her, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's a mom. She was in like engineering or something, so she was making a ton of money, and I think she was investing in the Pennsylvania market as well. And she just, her and her husband, they flipped one property, then they flipped another property, and then they started making good money. And then she started to have kids, and she didn't want to really take that time away from her kids. So then she quit altogether and started this business. So they go on these podcasts, their following jump up like 50, 60. It's like for me to go on a podcast today, I only have about 1,200 followers on Instagram, and then I go to 50,000 followers. Obviously, when people see you have a lot of followers, they're more inclined to follow you. I don't know what it is. So then next thing you know, I have a product, and now I have this audience that's all inspired by my story, from Bigger Pockets. And Bigger Pockets is a big platform. So in your head, you're like, oh, they definitely did their research. She's definitely legit. You're putting all these things in your head. So we see Earn Your Leisure with doing all these interviews, and they even say do your research before you invest with the people we have on this platform. On her website, you complete the application if you're willing to work with her. She only does it a few times a year, and she literally interviews you, and she doesn't allow anyone in her program. Like, this is a tight-knit thing. And everyone has the people that they resonate with. So she was a mom, she had kids. I'm a mom, I have kids. So of course I resonated with her story, and I'm like, being a woman in this industry, it's a male dominated industry. So I'm like, yeah, I want to fuck with you. So I call her. So we had a Zoom set up like the following day. Then with the Zoom, I'm all excited. I got my keypad out, and it was a phone Zoom. It wasn't like a video, so I didn't see her. But I recognized her voice from the podcast, from the interview. And she's like asking me, she wants to know about me. So I'm telling her, yeah, like I have this amount of kids. I live here. I invested in one property. I'm looking to scale up. She's like, well, how much do you have to invest? I give her that information. And then we go through this interview. It's like 30, 45 minutes. I felt like she was interviewing me because she was like, yeah, well, I think you would be a good fit because, we're not really interested in working with just anyone. We want to make sure, like, you're a good fit. And then at the end of the call, she's like, well, for me to work with you, it's $20,000. Huh? Like $20,000, like that's a lot of money. But she already knew how much money I had to invest, so she knew I could afford it. And I'm like, in my head, I'm doing the math. I'm like, I'm already 2 properties up, and I know for sure $20,000 could be my down payment and closing costs. So I was like, what are you talking about? So like that immediately turned me off, and I'm like, okay, I'll think about it. Hung up that conversation, and then there's follow-up emails. Her team's, no, I'm not interested. How are you investing $20,000 just for you to help? When I bought my first property by my damn self, and I bought my second property by myself, so I'm not as gullible. The part where I was really scammed was when I paid $1,000 to be in a private auction, and then 2 days with this auction, unorganized, kept getting canceled. And when it finally happened, 144 people in this auction. And it's funny because a lot of these people are in Philadelphia. I don't know what it is about Philadelphians, but y'all not looking too good out here. I am sorry. The person that scammed me, on their page, they will make these properties look like, oh, $8,000, $10,000. But we was bidding to like $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 for properties. And then they would tell us, oh, this property is actually worth $600,000. And then again, but this was after I paid for the auction already. You would put in the address and you'll see it's off the market. So they made it seem like they had an exclusive list and there's gonna be less competition. It's gonna be like an off property situation. So that was the only time I got scammed. I went to this event and didn't buy any. That other guy was there, the guy who helps with credit, trying to fix people credit for $500, $600. No one can really fix your credit. Only you can fix your credit. Pay what you owe, Bring down your utilization. Make sure it's under 30%. Under 10% is better. There's videos, endless videos on this very YouTube for free. So try to do as much as you can with free information. I feel like we're in this era where we just want to sit back and have everyone do it for us. That shit costs money and it's not guaranteed. Like the results are not guaranteed. I didn't get scammed because I went to an event. I paid for the event. There was another person that I was really watching on YouTube, Noelle. Have you guys heard of Noelle Randall? She's also another woman that, you know, I really looked up to and was very inspired by. She also has, you know, kids, and she's a woman in this industry. And at one point, I think she had to move back in with her parents. So then she was doing an event in Florida. I couldn't go. But if you wanted to work with her, have her be your mentor, you call this number. So I called the number, and I remember speaking to a gentleman. I'm taking the notes, right? They butter you up. You know, she's mentored this people, and they're telling you their results. And then at the end of the call, it's like $10,000 to work with Noelle, and we can even break it down into monthly payments. Once you tell me these kind of prices, I'm immediately turned off, because I know this $10,000, if this is my last $10,000, I'd rather go buy and put a down payment on a property, like get in a susu. If you know what a susu is, you know, when every week you pay a certain amount and then you collect a lump sum. And when you're in the susu with like 10, 20 people, use that money, fix the property up, do this, do that, you know, go to the bank, say, I have this property, I'm halfway done, this is what I need to get. You can even have contractors. Like if it's a big enough contractor, they have financing programs. If you're working with a big enough contractor, now it's going to cost a little bit of money, but you can go and flip that property, have someone in that property turn into Airbnb, and have that tenant pay for, you know, help you pay for the payments. Like I'm never one to do that. And then I started seeing all these videos on YouTube about people that actually work for Noelle and how it's a big scam and how like you never even really speak to her directly and all this BS. So stop being gullible out here. It's an influx of people just out here scamming people. And why do you think that I've been investing in real estate for 3 years now? I have over 100 videos on YouTube, and to this day, I still don't have a digital product. I'm working on my ebook now, but I just didn't, after getting scammed myself, I just didn't want to be another real estate guru on the internet claiming I have all the answers and trying to charge you crazy amounts of money. When I come out with a course, it would never be $5,000, $3,000, $7,000. I remember going to Greg Parker's Instagram, wanting to work with him, just, you know, curious. And he was he had this book that he was selling for $200 that teaches you everything from, you know, foundation to finishing the home. And then his mentorship, I think, was $50,000. That is insane. That is insane amount of money. Who the fuck got $50,000? If I have $50,000 just sitting around, I'm not gonna then take that and give it. And the people that were scammed by Greg Parker, they was just sending him the money. You never do that when you're buying a property. The money goes to the title company. The title company, for a fee, they go out and they do their due diligence on your behalf, researching the title, making sure there's no liens on there, making sure the property is clear by the time it's transferred over to you. So any things that the person owed, that goes to the seller. That has nothing to do with you, the buyer. So they make sure you have a clean title. You send the title, you find a title company that you both agree with. The money, the earnest money goes to the title company. It does not go to the scammer. Okay? So I really don't think you guys that are new in this business need to go invest anything over that. Like investing in your education, I believe, is crucial. I bought a $2,500 course on trucking. I'll put his information here. Fucking course was elite. My older brother's in the trucking business, and I wanted to get into the trucking business. His course was elite. You know, there was a certain amount we were paying every month, but every 2 weeks we had a Zoom call, 100 different people all also in the trucking industry, and he would have speakers come, people talking about truck. That's how I learned so much about truck. State attorneys come on the call, giving you the details, giving you discounts to work with them. Then we would have like tax CPAs come. So like I learned so much in the few months that I was in his course. I later decided it's better for me to just stick with one avenue instead of trying to build, you know how they say like every millionaire has like 7 streams of income, that comes on later on, because there's no way in hell in the little 24 hours in a day you could be an expert at real estate, be an expert at trucking, be an expert at building, and be an expert at all these different things. I really believe that you got to focus on one thing until you know every in and out about that service. And then once you become good enough at that, you teach that, and then you hire people to then go ahead and create other businesses. That's how these millionaires do it. They don't try to build 3-4 businesses at the same time, because you're never going to get anywhere. You're going to give each business 25% instead of giving one 100%. So that's why I decided to, move away from that. But what was very enticing was that he was saying how during the pandemic, every business was shut down except the trucking business, because the trucks was the one delivering the hand sanitizers and the medical supplies to the hospitals, delivering the food to the Costco's, to the supermarkets. So that's why I really like that, because it was, what did they call it? Recession proof. It was a recession proof business. But it's something that I probably would still get into. I remember my grandfather made his millions off of trucking in Africa. So I'm not saying I'm not interested anymore. I just need to focus on one thing right now, scale this business up, then I can venture out into other things. But I have to say, this course was elite, very inspired. So if you guys are interested in trucking, I'll put a plug down right here. Another funny story is the scammer that scammed me. It's a female. I'm gonna give you what her name, her first name rhymes with. She's out in Philly, and her first name rhymes with Marissa. So do your own research. Philly, Black female, does real estate, first name rhymes with Marissa. I follow MG, the mortgage guy, and I follow Rants and Gems. So I listen to their podcast sometimes, and I go to my YouTube and it just comes up on my homepage. He's interviewing her. Blood boiling. And I remember I told you we had a group chat for all the people she scammed. Well, not all the people, but like 4 or 5 girls. So I instantly go and message one of the girls on Instagram, and I'm like, yo, look at this interview. And she was like, yes, I was talking to the other girl. She's pissed. I could not let it die. I could not let it die. I then go and send MG Mortgage Guy a long message about you need to vet who you interview. I've been following you for a few years. We actually met at DJ Envy's event back in 2021. This interview that you just dropped, maybe 2 hours. It was freshly new, not a lot of eyes on it yet. And I saw it in the evening, and I sent him this long passage. He actually responded to one of them. He was like, yo, I'm confused. What are you talking about? So now that I got his attention, I started sending him screenshots from our chats. Because this person still didn't block me. So I sent them the screenshots from the chat. So he was like, yo, can I get on the phone with you? Are you available? Next morning, I'm at the gym. He calls me. We have a 1-hour long conversation. Great guy. And he was like, I don't know if you noticed, but I took the video down, because as soon as I listed the video, 2 other people contacted me. So me and 2 other people, and he said it was for different things, but he wanted to hear my story, and I told him everything. He was like, yeah, I don't think that's best practice. If you claim you're a millionaire, then why not make it right and refund these people for their business? But he did tell me that I paid for the auction. So if I paid for the auction and she actually did the auction, it seems like she actually did what she said she was going to do, even though I didn't get no properties from the auction. So I understand where he's coming from. But at the end of the day, I felt like I got scammed. I let him know, and he brought her video down. So her video was down, and then he took my name. He said he was going to let her know, see if she's willing to make it right. Nothing ever happened. That was last year. That was months ago. I was so glad when he brought the video down, though, because I was like, yep, that's what you get. Karma's a bitch. Did it to the wrong one. That's my spiel. He didn't scam me. I paid less than $200 for his event. I learned a lot. I followed a lot of people, and I just consumed the information. I'm like a sponge. I'm just out here absorbing as much information as I can. I will never pay $5,000 for a course. I don't think I would ever pay that much for a course, no matter how much money I make. So just the people who are really out here to help you, really help you, they're not charging that amount of money. And you guys will see when I release my ebook. It's not about to be no $300 ebook. We're not doing that. So that's it for this video. I hope I answered a lot of you guys' questions. I hope I gave you a lot of clarity. Don't be quick to do business with people just because they have 100,000 followers, because a lot of them start a business and then they start making more money from the education business, because we're in the info product era right now. So next thing you know, they're making millions off of charging you for $5,000 for a course. They're not even doing that business anymore. So stay safe out here. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.